action. Alright guys, we're gonna make some beef jerky. My wife's got grilling cheese. Pretty excited about it. What's it called?
Halloumi.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't want to cut the meats unless your knife is sharp. Now, I've tried using this with this knife. And I can't get it sharp with that. In my defense, I think it's because this Chicago cutlery is stainless. So I just use this little cheater. You run this thing through this thing and it gets it razor sharp. So ain't no shame. I need a sharp blade for cutting the beef. And this gets her good and sharp. So there it is, grilled cheese, literally cheese that's grilled with some green stuff, cheese. So yeah, we're making beef jerky, but we are not using a hamburger. For that, it's a good thing that thing's empty. We use Hive Round. And this stuff here, I'm not sure if it says the price on there, or if you can see it. So that's 7.98 pounds. No, it doesn't say the price on it, but we got this down to like $2.66 a pound at a Whole Foods grocer called Restaurant Depot. Love me some Restaurant Depot. If you're making beef jerky, you just want to go and continually search out and find the lowest priced beef that you can get. I'm on a beef jerky forum and I haven't found any much cheaper than this $2.66. But I've seen people get all excited for $4 beef and $4.50 a pound beef. But yeah, just continue to search it out and see if you can find some beef that gets down to the $2.60 range. Alright, here she is, 7.98 pounds. No, I think it's called denuding it when you take the fat off. You want to find as lean as meat as possible. You don't want fat on there because that's what'll make it spoil faster. Now the more you do this, the quicker it'll get. I just throw my fat. I know there's a lot of things that you can do with that. I'm actually wanting to look into this jerky that my buddy got from work. Here in Minnesota, or at least in the Twin Cities, we have a large Hmong population, and they have this, his coworker makes this traditional Hmong jerky, and it's, the fat content is like almost like bacon. It's sweet. I'm not sure, I'd have to find out what the spices are, but I think some of these trimmings that still have just a little bit of meat on it, I could make it like a 50-50 mix and make some of that Hmong jerky. And we kind of guessed how they made it. We kind of did some sleuthing and asked some people. We asked a couple Hmong people what they thought, and They said they definitely didn't use a deep fryer because that just among the traditional way of them making jerky is to sun dry it. So they said the closest thing that you can get is to bake it in the oven. But it has this insane texture to it. It's like right when you bite into it, it's crispy, like it's candied, and then it kind of softens and you chew it, so it's kind of caramelly, has that kind of caramel texture to it, and could not figure that out. And then the kid said, when we were asking him, he said, so they probably bake it and then they flash fry it. Just dip her in the fryer, like a 400, 500 degree fryer, just a moment. And he thinks that's how it gets that kind of crispy outside texture to it. But I think that's one of the things I want to try to do with like some of these pieces that are like 50-50 with fat meat, instead of just tossing it out or giving it to the dog. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and denube this. I'll get all the fat off there and we'll go from there. Now, one of the things you'll do when you're trying to denube this is you'll cut so you have like a little tab to hold on to, and you'll pull it with your blade turned up towards you, so you're not cutting towards the meat, you're cutting into the fat, pulling up the fat. And with that technique, you will get a better cut, so you don't cut all the meat off the... So you'll get some. And like I say, those are some of the pieces where I'd like to cut that and try to make like a fatty jerky, like a mung style jerky out of that. Alright, there she is. Just mostly good. Just a couple spots. So that is what I do, is I quarter it. Well, this one's small enough yet where I think I'll just cut her into thirds. Depending on how your slicer arrangement is. I'll show you my slicer here. So I'm sure this slicer will bring back memories for some of you guys. Doesn't get much more vintage than this. It's just an old slicer I got for 20 bucks. Pretty much you'll notice everything I have is 20 bucks. So yeah. So I've been making jerky for a few years now, and I used to slice it like so, and obviously that's with the grain, so it's harder to chew. And on the forum, I finally saw somebody had cut it with this orientation, so it kind of gives you a final product of like a medallion. This way, when you cut it this way, once you start getting into the middle thicker pieces here, you have to take it back over to the cutting board and chop it into 2-3 individual pieces, and so you get your standard shaped jerky that you think of. But I really like this round medallion orientation because you can chew it so it breaks off and it's really tender because you're biting it perpendicular to the grain or whatever and just pulling it off, and it just pulls right off, just like really easy, like butter. Oh, and I have just over 1/8 of an inch or so for my thickness. Myself personally, I know everybody raves over holding up their jerky and being able to see light shining through it. I like a thicker slice. I used to do 1/4 inch, but friends and stuff that I'd give it to were like, oh, it's really thick, so I'd compromise and have gone down to the 1/8 inch thickness. So there you see, I don't take this and slice it down any further. It, I think, gives a good size, and like I say, you can bite it perpendicular to the grain, and it just comes, it just melts right into your mouth. So yeah, I'll slice this up and go from there. Okay, so I used to put them in gallon bags, my marinades, and then I finally invested in these food safe plastic containers. Even though these ones are still small and I still have to be careful when I'm mixing the ingredients in there, it's still 1,000 times better than the bags, because anybody who's been doing jerky for long at all knows you can set the plastic bag up, it's got the soy sauce and the meat in it, and it looks like it's good to go. You turn your back for 1 second and come back, and it's tipped over and you have soy sauce all over the counter. You will never have that problem again. It is like a dream if you get these food safe containers to marinate in. So I'm going to put 2 pounds. There's my meat over there. So I'm going to put 2 pounds in each, and then split the difference so they both have equal amounts of meat in them. And I'm going to mix the recipe for as if I have 6 pounds, and we'll find out here. I started off with 7.98 pounds. After denuding, I'm guessing I have just over like 6.5 pounds. We'll see. So I'm actually just going to show you this. If you've never worked with a digi-scale before, they're really great. You can set your container on there and hit the tare button, and it measures it at 0, so it subtracts the weight of the container. So then you're able to stick whatever ingredients in there and get just the weight of those ingredients. You can see how my vintage slicer slices, like chews it up at the edges. One of these days, I'd love to get one of these $700 slicers. But really, I mean, yeah, there are ones that you can get for less, but pretty much $500 for commercial grade is like start. And I wouldn't get anything less than a commercial grade one, because that's the direction that I would want to go. Is so I can go and lease out a commercial kitchen and bring my slicer in there if they don't have a slicer, and be able to use that and get it certified through the meat department. So I'm 1 ounce shy of 4 pounds in each container. So this one has 3 pounds, 14 ounces. 3 pounds, 14 ounces. I'm confused because I started with 7 pounds, 7.98 pounds. So I have almost 8 pounds. I'm shy 2 ounces from 8 pounds. So it's really mind-bending to me how I could denube it and end up with almost 8 pounds when I started with 8 pounds. So I think that package weight must have been wrong, or I read it wrong or something. But I have almost 8 pounds. So I'm going to mix the ingredients for 4 batches. I don't want to underdo it by doing the 6 ingredients for 6 batches. So we want to do her up right. Okay, so I figured it out. I somehow hit tear without the container on there, so it added an extra 13 ounces. So yeah, I'm back at 3 pounds and 3 pounds. I was gonna say it didn't make any sense that I had. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm back to making 3 batches of 2 pound marinade. Okay, so this is Mr. Keith Rainville's recipe, aka Fat Yankee. If you don't know him, get to know him. Look him up on Facebook. He will be your jerky best friend. In the industry of jerky, he is king. He is the bomb. Now, this is the orange habanero recipe. It's his recipe. He had it on YouTube before I purchased 40 of his recipes. So I'll ask him if it's alright if I post this video. I assume it'll be fine because he, like I said, the orange habanero is one of the videos he's posted on YouTube before I even purchased the 40 recipes that he has for sale. But I recommend buying his recipe book because that has all the bomb jerky recipes you will ever need. So his recipe asked for, I think it was like 4 maybe habaneros or 2 habaneros per 2 pound batch. I like to bump it up. So I just got a grip load of habaneros. I got 24 habaneros for 3 batches. Yeah, I like the heat. So what I do with these guys is I just chop off the top there and stick it in my food processor and chop them up. So yeah.
I can't help you right now.
And just like everything else, we got a vintage food processor. This one actually I inherited this one in marriage. This is my wife's.
Lay down. Lay.
Well, I did the most obvious mix-up, which is to put the ingredients in before you put the blade in. That's a rookie mistake there. The next rookie mistake that I'll make is I'll go to take my contact lens out with habanero juice all up on my fingers. I do it every single time. There it is. And I'll use a spatula don't want to lose even one little piece of that goodness there. So what I did was I put 2 pounds in this one, 4 pounds in this one, so then the batches will make more sense because they're 2 pound recipes. So I'll just single the recipe in this one and double the recipe in that bucket. So this is 8 habaneros for 2 pounds. So that's almost, I think, double what the recipe calls for. See, I haven't jumped to using ghost peppers yet, or what the technical term for those is, the Butte Jalokias, or even the Carolina Reapers. Those things scare me. But yeah, one of these days I'm going to find a recipe for using ghost peppers, because that's good fun right there.
To do all this stuff, but
So one thing to note when you're using these food processors is to put a little bit of water in there. It helps blend it up a little bit. Oh yeah.
you're a good one, but
So here is the hardest part of the recipe. Is it asks for 2 tablespoons orange zest per 2 pounds. Now I have paint inside of my orange zester, so I can't, or my orange juice squeezer, so I can't repurpose the oranges for that. Normally I would. You end up with one nice glass of orange juice by the time you're all done. But yeah, got my handy dandy orange zester, and I will proceed to make orange zest out of these oranges. My least favorite part of this. But yeah, these little orange zesters, they were pretty good. So I have a method where I'll, let's see if you can see that. I'll zest one side like that, then I'll zest next side like that. Into kind of fourths. And then I'll go here, here, here until I've gone over the whole entire thing. If you just start hacking at it, it makes it a little bit more difficult, but if you kind of do it with some kind of method, it actually it's more efficient. I think you get a little bit more zest out of it. So here's 5 of the 8. So I think I've got 6 tablespoons. We'll see. Since I cut them so long, I should almost cut them a little bit. One, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, I need to do the other ones. Didn't have enough. Okay, so here's the other 3 oranges. Giving me my last little bit there. Yeah, if you like orange, this orange habanero is the beef jerky for you. I love orange. It's my absolute favorite. Yeah, the next ingredient is orange marmalade. Love, love, love orange marmalade. So yeah, 1/2 cup of the orange marmalade per 2 pounds of meat. Oh, I could just eat this stuff right out of the jar. Here's 1/2 cup. We'll get the rest in there and go on to the next. So then the next ingredient is 1/2 cup of honey. Again, if you can find these ingredients at a Whole Foods or a wholesale, that is going to be the way to go, especially if you are ever selling this stuff. To make any kind of profit, you have to find ways to get the beef cheap, the honey cheap. Like this restaurant Depot that I go to, their slogan is, "This is where restaurants go to shop," right? So that's where all the profit is you know, buy stuff cheap and sell it to us prepared for more, and that's how they make money. So we're gonna go 1/2 cup. Yeah, And just like that. Three more to go. Then 2 tablespoons orange extract. Yeah, this is orangey. If you're an orange fanatic, this is the jerky for you. So we're on the home stretch. Soy sauce, granulated garlic, and black pepper. I got another thing of soy sauce at the store, so I got more. Like if you were gonna buy this much soy sauce from a grocery store, you're gonna pay 4 times, 5 times, 6 times as much for this stuff. It's a lot of soy sauce. So, yeah, 1 cup soy sauce per 2 pounds. Now, I'm not a chemist or anything, but the science behind it, I guess, is that, see, salt draws out water. So how it goes is the salt in the soy sauce, being the main ingredient of the most any marinade, draws out the water in the meat. And what happens when you draw the water out is something has to replace it, so the soy sauce and the other ingredients in the marinade replace it, and that's how you get all the flavors from the marinade inside the meat. It just chemically goes inside of there because of the salts in the soy sauce. So I'll put the other soy sauce in there, the granulated garlic in there, and the black pepper in there, and we'll go from there. So one of the things you're going to want to do if you get into jerky is just wrestle the wife and get yourself a dedicated cupboard for the ingredients. Got my soy sauce, teriyaki sauce. You always have to have teriyaki. No matter what, you can have all the most amazing recipes ever, and for whatever reason, 50% or more of the people are going to be like, I want teriyaki. You have the most magical ingredients in all the other recipes, but they'll just be like, I want teriyaki. I don't know. It's very popular. But yeah, get a shelf. Go.
He didn't have to wrestle me to get that shelf. I can't reach that shelf anyway.
So there it is. Pre-mixed. Now, if you're smarter than me, you'll wear rubber gloves to mix this stuff up. I don't have any right now, so I'm just gonna deal with it. Yeah, mix her up real good. And I do 48-hour marinades. 24 hours, I'll come back in here and mix her up again. I'll want to get gloves before then, because when you go in there to mix it up the second time and it's been sitting in the fridge for a day, it will freeze your hand, which is not good. So yeah, I'll mix her all up and throw her in the fridge. And we'll see you guys again in 48 hours. Okay, so it's been 48 hours. I mixed it at 24 hours. You want to do that to get full coverage on your marinades. And I smarted up and I got some rubber gloves. So I have these Nesco jerky makers. Well, I guess you can make anything in them, just dehydrators. I got these used for 20 bucks on Craigslist, like I do everything else. 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 20 bucks. And what you do, just take the pieces out. Oh, I totally almost forgot. The most important thing that you can do is spray some kind of oil. Here I've got coconut oil spray. If you just spray a little bit of that first, you will save yourself a whole lot of heartache when you go to scrub these things off. Scrubbing these things off is the biggest pain in the butt if you don't use that oil. Because when you dehydrate it, it's basically cooking it on a low temp with hot air. And you'll cook that, all the marinade right onto those, right onto that plastic grate. So yeah, you just lay the meat down flat so it's not touching the edge, and make sure none of the jerky pieces are touching each other, because then it'll give you a uneven drying. Yeah, some people will say to like pat off the meat with like a paper towel. I think that's just stupid. Like, why am I gonna scrape off some of the flavor before I go to right in the final stretch here? Yeah, just continue through and put the meat on. There's a setting on the Nesco for 160 that says that's the jerky setting. So yeah, turn up to 160, get started, and when I get to the point where it's getting ready to start checking for doneness, I will come back. What do we got here?
So I don't know if you can see, I made a green lentil and chickpea smoked soup, and we put halloumi on top, which is the grilling cheese.
Wow.
And then some crusty bread. It's really good for cold days because it's been well below zero for a long time here in Minnesota.
Living like a king. So here's my setup. All three of them running in high capacity. One of these days I will upgrade to the 160 liter Cabela's unit. Alright, we'll give her hour and a half or so, and we'll check them and see where they're at. You got to rotate these trays at about that point. So get back about an hour, hour and a half, see where we're at, and rotate the trays. Yeah, we're 1 hour in, and I can see that it doesn't need to be rotated yet. Still very much hydrated, not dehydrated. So we'll give her another hour and we'll check her again. Smells good in here though. Alright, here we are at hour 2. Unplug that. Oh yeah. She's not raw anymore, so now she's ready to be rotated. So yeah, basically just top on the bottom and the bottom on the top. Do that with all 3 of them, and yeah, I can feel how this one, the one that was on the bottom, is not as done as the one that was on the top. So you want to always make sure you rotate. So now when this one is done, it's going to be the same consistency as the one on the bottom, or close to it. Good enough for the girls I know. Okay, so we're going on about 2.5 hours. At 2 hours, I rotated them. So we're gonna take a little peek here. Still needs a little bit more. Now, one of the keys to getting a good final product is that you want to take it off before it actually gets a little bit harder, like jerky texture. Because when it's hot, let's see now in here, before I took the cover off, it's at 160 degrees. So when it's at 160 degrees, it's going to be a little bit more pliable. And then when you turn it off, unplug it, and let it sit for a bit, then it gets harder. So if you wait until it gets to the hardness that you want it, and then unplug it, then it's going to get harder from there, and you're going to have a jerky that you'll chip a tooth trying to take a bite out of it. So we're going to go a little bit longer until it gets a little bit less pliable there. Just another 25 minutes or so, half hour, and then we'll unplug it, let it rest until it gets room temperature, and then we'll see whether or not it's done. If it needs to be more done at that point, then I can plug it in and let it run another half hour. But if you overdo it, you can't undo that. So yeah, we'll go another half hour and check it. Alright, so we're going on about a little bit over 3 hours of drying. So I want to make a distinction. See, I have a preference towards kippered snacks versus jerky. Now, Remember, I cut mine at 1/8 of an inch thick. Whereas you go much thinner than that, and you definitely start getting into jerky thickness, and much more than that, you get into kind of kippered snack thickness. And another distinction besides the thickness is also the moisture level. So I like to leave a little bit more moisture in mine. See, I'm going to cut the heat on that right now. So the difference between a kippered snack versus jerky is not only thickness but also moisture level. I just like a little bit not as dry as a genuine jerky lover. So I'm going to cut the heat on this. Let it sit till it gets about room temp. And then I'm going to grab another one of my food safe plastic bins and toss her in there. And then in the morning or after work or whatever, I'll show you how to vacuum seal these treats and weigh them out. Then when you give them to friends, they really enjoy having a package that they can open up that's been vacuum sealed. It's just a good presentation. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so I have my racks soaking. You want to do that right away. Have a bucket, food safe plastic bucket filled with the jerky. And I have my food saver vacuum sealer. Take a guess how much I spent on it. Yep, that's right, 20 bucks. Used on Craigslist. This thing is a relic, but gets her done. So what I do. Oh, and I have these vacuum bags. You can get these on eBay. They're relatively cheap. Higher quality ones are better. I just get cheap. One thing with the cheap though is you want to make sure that you're careful putting your jerky into the bag. If you are sealing these and you are often finding that it's not holding a vacuum, it's because the rough edges of your jerky easily puncture these bags. So be careful putting jerky into the bag. So it's the next day. It's after work from when I dehydrated this jerky. Another thing you don't want to do is stick it directly from the dryers into the bag, still warm, because it'll create pressure in here as it cools. Just the physics of it, I can't explain all that, but that's the case. And if you build pressure in here, it can break the seal as well. So yeah, let this cool before you stick it in the bags. So yeah, I have my scale here with the bowl, and I'm going to measure out how much I want in these bags. I do it, let's see, $2 per 2 ounces. And I used to do it, let's see if I get my math right here. $2 per 2 ounces, and at 2 for let me rethink this. Hold on a second. Let me figure out my maths. Okay, you have to forgive me, I'm not good at maths. So I used to sell the jerky at $8 per 4 ounces, which is $8 for a 1/4 ounce. Now, it's great because the 1/4 ounce is a nice rounded number, but 8 isn't. So like when people were buying jerky, yeah, I give them a good rounded quantity of 1/4 ounces, but they have to pay with a 5 and 3 ones, which is it's just not ideal. But then I saw somebody else local selling their jerky, and they were selling it $10 per 5 ounces. Now, I thought that was genius because instead of having the nice rounded quantity, they have a nice rounded currency of the $10. It's still the same $2 per ounce, but it's just easier because somebody can give you a $10 bill instead of a $5 bill and 3 ones. So that's how much I charge for the jerky, is $2 per ounce, which comes to either $8 per 1/4 pound or $10 per 5 ounces. So that's how much, all that to figure out how much I'm going to be weighing out. So I'm going to be weighing out 5 ounce portions. Now that's the tricky thing with the bigger pieces, is it's hard to land on exactly 5 ounces. But you just get as close as you can. I like to err on the side of giving the customer more rather than less. So I'll literally just keep on fidgeting around until I can get it as close to the mark as I possibly can. It's like 5.5. That's good enough for the girls I know. Again, be careful sticking these in the bag. I don't have as much trouble because like I mentioned before, I have a thicker sliced jerky and I leave a little bit more moisture in there, so it's more of a kippered snack consistency rather than a jerky consistency. A thinner sliced, more dried jerky consistency will have sharper edges. So then I've learned just from using this enough times how to best use it. Just hold her down, turn her on, and when it says it's sealed, I continue to let it seal until my gut says it's ready. I don't go by what the actual indicator here says of when the vacuum is complete. So like there, it's telling me it's done, but I'm going to go until my instinct tells me it's done. There it is. I wrote orange hab on the bottom. Now that's a decent presentation to hand your friends. They won't be expecting that. They'll be expecting it in a baggie along with all the other stuff you sell them. But no, this is a good vacuum sealed bag. You can see I got the seeds and the peppers. It just, man, it makes you just want to rip her open and dive into it. So yeah, that's that. That's how you make jerky right there. I'd like to say it's of the highest quality, really. But yeah, let's go play some poker. So it's a couple days later. I downloaded the video of me playing an $11 sit and go, but apparently listening to Pandora is not gonna work out. That last video was completely blocked because I was listening to old school rap. So I gotta figure out this YouTube copyright free music. See what we can find. So these royalty free rap beats are pretty weak. I was trying to turn off the ad, so I ran out of time and just had to call this hand. So I'm out of there. Rainbow board was straight. Full up straight. That's goofy. QA. Later position. Should have maybe just sandwiched those guys in there. Whoa. Half pot.
Purchase your tracks today.
Whoa. Saw that coming from a mile away. Every other song has a ad on this YouTube rap copyright free station. Man, I was totally stoked to have the Pandora playing while I did this. Now I've got some generic beat some goth Nemo kid made in his grandma's basement. I'm gonna bet my 4 since I'm on the button. It's gonna go 75. The blinds are 30. I'll C-bet that. $80. Oh, check raised me. Yeah, not having none of that. Benny came to say hi. Say hi, Benny. What's up, Benny? What's up? That's what's up. Yeah. Alright. Got my obligatory 4s. Dope. Somebody popped it. Wow. Pop, pop. Weird. King 9. That was his hand. His 2 favorite cards, I guess. Blinds are 100. I'm in a situation. Whoa. $300. Dope.
If you're trying to lose belly fat, stop doing cardio. This sounds backwards, right? Well, believe it or not, it's actually true. Stop spending hours on the elliptical to get
Glad
in
that
shape.
worked.
Running on the treadmill 5 or even 6
I was
days
a little
week
nervous there.
gets most people nowhere.
You want to know why running on the treadmill 7 days a week doesn't work for you? When
Yeah,
you
here's
start
this commercial.
Because it never has. And I know that's hard to believe, but it's true.
I'm
Cardio
sick of
actually
that.
burns calories, usually in the form of carbs in the bloodstream that are then replaced.
Whatever. Well, I'm in a situation with Ace 4. That's just not right. Unless a miracle happens here. I'm the bubble boy. Wah, wah, wah.